Inside the walls of the old mansion at 800 Ocean Avenue lived many souls who suffered terribly before passing on to the afterlife. This home was built by the Crane family back in the early 19th century, but the residence was so cursed that they fled from their mansion in the middle of the night. That is when the house was abandoned until one day a new family moved in. They were the Vances, and they had no idea what kind of nightmares awaited them inside the hellish halls of the house. Eleanor Vance was the mother of 2 children, but she was also an intelligent woman who worked as a journalist. She did not believe in ghosts or any other nonsense, but after moving into the creepy home, she soon found out why it was known as the most haunted house in the world. She had heard that the job position of a caretaker for the property was open, and she wanted to apply for it. But when she arrived at the mansion with her young children, she realized that she would have a hard time taking care of such a large building all by herself. And she was shocked when she found out that the only condition to becoming the caretaker was that she had to live there alone. She did not know that if she accepted this job, she would soon face terrible misfortunes. But Eleanor was already in love with the house. It didn't matter how many secret passages and staircases there were. It didn't matter that there were even secret rooms hidden behind bookshelves. Eleanor just wanted to stay there. Even though it was clear that the home was going to ruin her life, she still decided to take up the caretaker position. Her children could come to visit her on weekends, but during the week she would have to spend her time alone. In addition to being isolated in a haunted house, Eleanor was about to lose her mind. As soon as she stepped through the front door, she began to hear strange noises coming from within the mansion. She could hear whispering voices that seemed to be coming from nowhere and everywhere at once. As she walked further into the house, she noticed that the wallpaper was adorned with scary images of bloody meat cleavers and dead flowers. There were also paintings on the walls that depicted horrible creatures, which made her blood run cold. All of these details indicated that the house was cursed, but Eleanor ignored them. She even believed that those were beautiful drawings and that the house was just a masterpiece. In fact, Eleanor began to fall in love with the house and its terrifying decorations. She felt as if it were trying to tell her a story, and she wanted to understand its language. She wandered through the many rooms and thought to herself that she could turn the home into a museum if she renovated it. She imagined that people would come from all over the world to visit and that she would earn a lot of money from it. But little did she know that the house had other plans for her. She continued exploring the house until she came across a room that was locked. Eleanor's curiosity got the better of her, so she tried to open it, but it was no use. The door was very heavy and she could not move it. When she walked away from it, she could feel the evil presence lurking inside the room watching her. But despite the danger, she still couldn't help but sneak a peek inside every time she passed by. A few days later, Eleanor was working on restoring some furniture when she heard footsteps on the stairs. She stopped what she was doing and listened intently, but she couldn't hear anything else. Perhaps it was the wind, she thought. But then she heard a voice that said, "Are you there?" Startled, Eleanor immediately looked around to see where the sound had come from. She thought she might have imagined it, but then the voice said, "Are you there?" Again. It was much closer now, and it seemed to be coming from right beside her. But when she turned around, she saw that there was no one there. Eleanor's heart began to race and her hands trembled as she tried to calm herself down. "It's just your imagination," she whispered to herself. "There's no one here." However, the voice persisted and continued to whisper cryptic messages, leaving Eleanor increasingly frightened and confused. Eleanor started to suspect that the house itself might be haunting her. Its malevolent spirit seemed determined to drive her insane by whispering secrets and taunting her with its presence. After hearing the voice for the 3rd time, Eleanor knew she had to do something to protect herself. She gathered all her courage and confronted the darkness, determined to uncover the truth behind the whispers and put an end to the haunting once and for all. But as she stepped into the light, she could swear that she heard the voice laugh. Eleanor felt a chill run down her spine, and she knew that she was in for a long and terrifying night. As she explored the house, she discovered more and more secrets that revealed the dark history of the building and its former residents. She found hidden passages, secret rooms, and diaries that told stories of tragedy and despair. Each new discovery only added to the mystery and intrigue of the house, making it more fascinating to Eleanor, even as she grew increasingly terrified of what she might find next. And as the days turned into weeks, Eleanor became more and more obsessed with the house and its secrets. She spent every waking moment searching for answers, and she began to neglect her appearance and her work. Her friends and family worried about her, but she was too far gone to listen to their concerns. She was consumed by the house and its haunting presence, and she would not rest until she had uncovered the truth. One day, as Eleanor was exploring the attic, she came across a dusty trunk that contained a collection of old photographs and documents. As she looked through them, she began to piece together the history of the house and its former residents. She learned about the Crane family, who had lived in the house in the early 1900s, and the tragic events that had led to their demise. As she delved deeper into the story, Eleanor became more and more disturbed. She learned that the Crane family had been torn apart by jealousy and betrayal, and that their home had become a battleground for their darkest desires. She also discovered that the house had a dark secret, a hidden room that had been used for unspeakable experiments and rituals. Driven by her obsession, Eleanor decided to find the hidden room for herself. She scoured the house, looking for clues, and eventually she found a secret passageway behind a bookshelf. With trembling hands, she opened the passage and stepped inside. What she found there would change her life forever. Deep within the labyrinth of tunnels, Eleanor stumbled upon a hidden chamber that seemed to pulsate with a dark energy. As she cautiously stepped inside, she could feel the weight of countless tormented souls pressing against her, their whispers echoing through the darkness. The air grew thick and heavy, making it difficult to breathe as the walls seemed to close in on her, trapping her in a suffocating grip. But Eleanor pressed on, driven by an insatiable curiosity and a growing sense of dread. As she ventured deeper into the chamber, she began to see strange, disturbing images that seemed to materialize from the shadows. The walls themselves appeared to writhe and twist, taking on grotesque shapes that mocked her sanity. With each step she took, the whispers grew louder, forming a cacophony of voices that clawed at her sanity, their words dripping with pain and anguish. Suddenly, the whispers coalesced into a single, chilling voice that echoed through the chamber like a death knell. "Leave," it hissed, "while you still can." But Eleanor, paralyzed by fear and morbid fascination, could only stand there and listen as the voice grew louder, more insistent. "Get out," it screamed, "before it's too late." But it was too late already. The house had claimed her, body and soul. Her eyes wide with terror, she turned to flee, but the passage behind her had vanished. Trapped in the suffocating darkness, Eleanor collapsed to her knees, her sanity slipping away like sand through her fingers. The whispers closed in on her, enveloping her in their suffocating embrace, and the horrifying realization dawned on her. She was not alone. She was trapped in the house with the ghosts, and they had no intention of letting her leave. As the ghosts closed in, Eleanor screamed, but her cries were swallowed by the darkness. Her mind reeled, trying to grasp the horrifying truth, but it was too late. She was lost in a labyrinth of shadows and whispers, and the house had won. So, if you found this story entertaining, don't forget to subscribe. You are brave enough to subscribe. Trust me, it only gets weirder from here.